Welcome to Desrose Radio.
Like I was saying, I had a little bit of trouble finding a live stream and kind of disappointed on some of the questions. But what's important is to really take a look at what they're saying, what each candidate is saying. Sometimes, when people are watching on TV, you get kind of carried away with the personalities and the kind of the circus of it without really thinking and hearing what they're saying. So I try to break it down a little bit for me to understand. And like I was saying, to me it seemed like a lot of the questions were geared for drama or controversy for a lot of people. Like the first one they asked, they started the whole debate. I'm not a Trump fan, okay? I'm not a fan of any of them really right now, except one maybe. But they started the whole thing out just asking Trump or asking if anybody's going to run third party. And that's where it felt like they know, they just heard Trump say a few days ago or whenever that he's open to the possibility of it. And just the way they asked, I guess they're not Trump friendly. So it just came across, that was the very first question of this debate. And he was honest about it, like, yeah, that's kind of what I said, And then Rand Paul just jumps in right away, trying to demean his character. And I was like, and my first thought was like, okay, this is going to be one of those kind of debates. This is stupid. I don't got time to listen to this. Because that's what I was talking about. This is supposed to be for the president, of the United States, and it's just a big game. And it's very hard for people to take any of this serious, and especially for the Republicans. You guys don't have a good record right now with people in general, because, unfortunately, most of the population have absolutely nothing in common with these people. You know what I mean? Like, there are people who will vote for a certain class thinking they are like that, but they're nothing like that class. They have no idea. These people are completely different. So you have to keep that in mind. Okay, well, anyways, let's just say, so then Rand Paul, starts demeaning his character and all this, and they finally stop that. So the way I see it, okay, for each individual, start with Ben Carson. He was asked a question about electability. I did like the answer from Ben Carson. I like that his answers were focused and positive and thoughtful. It's like he put some thought into it, and every answer he gave included the general public, and it included some staying true to the Constitution in some way. He don't know if he's going to get much just because his answers were simple and to the point. He didn't have no media character appeal, with his answers. They were to the point. But he had a couple of people clap. Almost every one of his answers, people clapped. So I thought that was interesting. And so I'd like to see what he does and what he is, who he is as a person for this. On his, they ignored him for like 30 minutes, So when they finally asked him a second question, it was about waterboarding. And I liked his answer, that the fact that it really isn't anybody's business how they get the information, and that there was no reason to there's no political correctness in war, which is the truth, right? And which is kind of odd too when you think about it. You have the public saying, oh, this is inhumane, you can't do this, you can't do that. When you're in war, I know all sides of war is ugly and brutal, and that's why it's war. That's why people need to be think things through when they go to war, not just go to war because they think somebody has something, and but I won't get into that. I'm just saying, and just in general. So I liked how he answered that. You can't fight a stupid war, and you can't be telling everybody what you're going to do. When they get the information, they need to get the information and stuff like that. And his thoughts on the federal government, and he used tithing as an example. There was one candidate that started with the whole Christian thing, which I think he just should not have done it. I think it was Walker, if I remember correctly. And I was like, when he answered like that, I was like, oh, great, dude, you're done. You're done. Don't stop it, And that's one of the things when the general public is sick and tired of hearing, too. They're sick and tired of having religion in politics. And some of these people aren't just getting it through their head. It's not going to happen. If they do that, they're not going to be president. That just too much of the population is tired of it. They don't want it, So that kind of thing too. But okay, so Ben Carson gave an example of tithing where everybody pays the same percent across the board and they get rid of deductions and loopholes. And I like that too. I like that answer. I could have sworn that it used to be like that, back in the day. I don't know. I was kind of young, but I think this is before, the federal government got into so many things in our lives. But that's just, my opinion or from what I understand. Rubio's answers to his questions. The first question he was asked is how he would run the country better than the Bushes. I thought that was kind of disturbing too. I know, and he asked him to answer it to Jeb Bush, and I thought that question was not appropriate either because Jeb is not his father or his grandfather, He hasn't ran a country yet. I mean, he did give examples of how he ran his state and stuff like that, but I just thought that just also caused, it was just a question to cause controversy or drama. Like, how are you better than this family? Kind of thing. And I did like how he answered to say, Jeb Bush saying that, he actually said that he was not his father, or his grandfather. So I was like, okay, that's cool. But the one thing that bothered me that Rubio answered was, first he answered saying that it was not a resume competition, which is true, which is kind of like what I was saying. It's not about that. But then he brought up, to one of the questions, he brought up Amazon. Okay, Amazon not giving jobs. And because Amazon does not have a job, they have a warehouse, but they don't have stores. How that's hurting our economy. It's hurting they're not giving jobs to employees. And that one I picked out because it's very telling in how he's saying this. Amazon is a big business, but it's not just Amazon. The majority of those products come from us, from people who are sending these products in or who are selling these products. Yeah, there's no store. We're the stores. Our homes are the stores, And the way he answered it, he had no concept of it. He just saw a business with a warehouse that has no employees. They have tons of employees because they have all these warehouses that we ship to. And the people who are making money are people like me. So that is our job. They are giving jobs, they're giving us a platform to sell our stuff. Yeah, now they have little stores in there and stuff, but the majority are everyday people making this money. So that one was kind of like, okay, so if he gets elected, you could kiss your internet business goodbye because he's going to say, well, eBay is not giving jobs either. Yeah, they have a little business, a corporate office, but they don't have stores. So what are they going to say? Oh, eBay's not giving jobs either, so people like me aren't making money. They're going to go after Etsy. I was like, oh, hell no. So I didn't like his answers at all. He's easy on the eyes, but his mouth says something completely different. I'm just watching him. I'm not sure what to think about him. Because he also made a statement about he just owed $100,000 in student loans just a few years ago. What? It's I want to see proof. You freaking lie. Don't even lie. Because there are people who have no student loans because they're paying out of pocket. And I have a strong feeling he did not take any loans because you have to be extreme poverty to qualify for those loans. Not just be in school. You need to be at an income level. So I can guarantee you a few years ago he was not poor. He hasn't been poor in a while. So he should have been paying those off a long time ago. He didn't just owe it a few years ago. Like that doesn't make any sense. So it's like I didn't buy that. Then so to me it felt like, okay, you're lying, dude. You just flat out just lied. But that's just me. All right. So that was my thoughts on that one. What he did say that was correct, which I thought the majority of, with the thing when it comes to immigrants, the majority of immigrants are not from Mexico. They are from Honduras and Guatemala. They're beyond Mexico. They just come through Mexico. The majority of immigrants that are coming here illegal are not Mexican. You got them coming from Cuba. You got them coming from different places that come through Mexico to get in. So I think a lot of that stuff with immigration, with the whole Mexican thing, is kind of ignorant to some extent, because there's immigrants coming from all places. I mean, I knew a guy that came from England and was trying to come here illegally, but see, no one paid attention because he was a white guy, and he did hair or something, and he came here trying to get a job, and I was telling him, you can't just work here. And he did find work for a little while, but he eventually had to leave. But his visa was for like 30 days, and he was already here for like 3 or 4 years or something like that. And it kind of caught up to him only because he sought work in the regular workforce. Not in a place where not in agriculture or anything like that. Like, it was a regular workforce, so he kind of got busted. All right. And plus he had nowhere to go. Like, these girls were like, we're not putting you up. All right. So, okay. So back to Bush. I guess he believes in, like, a earned legal status, like creating a way for earned income. I don't know. So in some ways he got kind of beef for the immigration thing, because I think he's not seeing it. He doesn't sound like he is militant about it. It's more like he understood that there are families that come here for a better life kind of thing and stuff like that. And then he did state something about the federal government should stay out of the curriculum and keep it to the state and local levels, which, I thought that was a good answer too, because I kind of agree with that. All right, so that was that. Now the stuff with Trump, the questions he was asked, I noticed a lot of the questions were aimed at him to cause, either to demean him, to cause controversy, or some kind of drama. And I don't think he was given legit presidential questions. He was giving personal questions, like just personal things, not in a way where, let's tell us your policy or tell us how this or that. I think his questions were given a little bit weirder, which is kind of making me change my mind about him a little bit, because of just from these questions, just from tonight, because I don't like the guy, all right? Personally, I don't like him. I wouldn't hang out with him. But watching the debate itself, like how he's handling himself, he handled himself really good, I think. Because I guess what people are attracted to is that he's actually saying a lot of things that people are thinking, but he just says it, and he has no boundaries, really. And, he's not a politician. And he is trying to be right now, but technically he's not a politician. So he's just not an average person, but just a regular person. That is not his field, kind of thing. So he doesn't have, a guard on his mouth, kind of thing. He hasn't learned it. He's probably never had to. But the first question was from that lady asking him about his sexist comments in the past. And yeah, I think that could be a problem, because if you're in office, you can't make sexist comments to people. What if he has to go to another country and talk to them and stuff? He needs to learn how to guard his mouth. I mean, I don't know if it'd be something that would come in time, but his answer was, he answered it well. He kind of like played it off as a joke and stuff, and told them that he was not a politician, so that was good. And one thing I noticed from that first portion that I watched, they asked him about. They asked him for proof. They wanted proof. Okay, he explained that Mexico and other, it's not just Mexico, it's other countries. Americans are seen as stupid, and politicians are dumb. And yeah, I believe what he says, because I've experienced it. I've been out of the country. I know I've been to several countries outside of the United States, and they think we're idiots, And idiot enough if you come from a world full of crime, or a world where they don't have this political correctness. They'll screw us over in a heartbeat. They'll do, they're not going to do right or be politically correct. They'll do whatever they can to get the most out of us, to use Americans. And so what he was saying was the truth, but this guy wanted proof. And my first thought was like, okay, he's just going to hand you the proof, right? You can't be that ignorant. Like, why ask him for proof? Why don't you show the American people? We know. Most Americans know, and a lot of us who live at near the borders, we know. We don't need no proof. They do. They send their crap over here. They don't care, And that's what I mean. Like, a lot of these people are going through Mexico. They don't care. They just let them go. They want them out of their country. They don't want Guatemalans hanging up over there by their borders. They'll just send them across. They'll take their money and send them across. People in Honduras, they don't want them there either. So I think he was accurate, but the one thing he kept saying was how dumb and ignorant politicians are, and he got some boos for that answer. And I don't know why he got boos for it, because he was like being so honest. But I know like I'm saying, I'm not a Trump fan, but I have to admit it was entertaining in some aspects, but I don't know how far he's going to get with the people, because it doesn't seem like they like him. So we just let that go. Ted Cruz, I don't know what to think of him. I don't know this person very well. They asked him about the Kate Stiles laws, about prison terms if someone is deported and then comes back, kind of thing. And he said he filed something with legislation on the Cates law, and it was blocked by his own people and stuff. But he looks like a total politician. He was kind of fakish, but like prepped, for politics. Like, he probably was born and raised political. So it was like, okay, you just, all right. So Chris Christie, he was first told about his downgrades in his state, and they had the third highest foreclosure rate, and his answer was it was worse before he got there. And then he talked about how he improved the area, and I guess the state is New Jersey, I think. And he seems all right, but I don't know. Like, with him, there was some other stuff that he was talking about that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I think he got in an argument too. God, I don't even remember. He didn't even leave a lasting impression in my mind. Scott Walker. He was given, his first question was a pro-life question, and he talked about how he defunded Planned Parenthood, and with immigration, he would support a path to citizenship. And he was asked why he changed his mind. I guess he said he would support a path to citizenship, and then he changed his mind just recently, like in the last couple of years. And then he says because he listened to the people. So to me, that just meant this politics, They made him change his mind. And then he was asked what kind of partners do we have that we could benefit from, and he said like Egypt and stuff, and that these countries were talking about, they wanted the U.S. to disengage. But it was almost kind of like he was blaming Obama for that, like it was like, no, this has been going on ever since we've been in war. So a lot of these countries want us to disengage. And then with the federal government and Common Core saying that it's forced down everybody's throats and stuff. And the thing with the Planned Parenthood, I'll give my thoughts on that later, with the Planned Parenthood stuff. Then you had Huckabee. He wanted to change Planned Parenthood and bring in the amendments to protect the unborn child. I guess it's like the 5th, 14th rights to protect the child. And the one thing that did bother me with this was the Patriot Act with him. The Patriot Act, he wants actually more tools to use it. Like he wants to expand it. And I understand the Patriot Act to some extent, but I think the people that they're trying to find are usually immigrants. They're not Americans. But this Patriot Act is going to all Americans. So this is still, like, I guess they're using everything. They're using Facebooks, Twitters, all this stuff. And I just, to expand it even more so, like I'm already pissed off that the internet's putting all our information out there without our permission. Now, my grandma's information's out there and she's not even alive, like they're just adding stuff. And so I don't know if that's all part of it or what, but I didn't like that one at all. But that's one thing I never knew about him. Like I didn't know he was like Patriot Act guy. So that kind of, for me, but I'm just letting you guys know kind of what their answers were and how they sounded to me as, how I'm seeing it as a non-political person. And they're talking about the federal government. He was given a federal government question too. And should get rid of, okay, he believed that they should get rid of the IRS and pass a fair tax. And if he was asked if the government was, or federal government was too big to shrink, and he said that it's not too big to shrink, but it had something to do with Wall Street and then the supporters and all this donators, Wall Street, people who donate and all this stuff. But I don't know. It's like that whole thing. Okay, Rand Paul. Okay, I'll try not to be biased on this, but Rand Paul pisses me off. Okay, I found him very annoying. Very annoying. I mean, I would have liked him if he didn't diss his father, when his father needed him to his support. But I don't even want to hear it. But I'll tell you what he said. Okay. What he did say is not to fund our enemies. And he was talking about how ISIS, they have a lot of weapons and stuff that belong to us. They have cars and stuff that belong to us over there. Pretty much, I think it's whatever we brought over there in war and we leave behind, these other people get. But that's a known fact with all our stuff. That's what we do. We leave our trash there and then they take it and all this stuff. But I don't know what he was talking about with that. Oh yeah, and then he argued. I think it was with Huckabee. He was arguing with him for a while because he was telling him, "Oh, but I saw you giving Obama hugs," and then he bothered me because at the very beginning of the debate, he went after Trump right away. Like he wants to have an argument. He doesn't want to have a debate. He's just like going after people's characters, you know. And then the last guy, what's his name? Cautious or Cautious? I don't know what his name is. He was questioned on something with St. Peter and Medicaid and making some votes to expand some government things that he voted for and question about it. And that one I felt like, okay, now I felt like we were kind of getting to the core of what these guys stand for, you know, when it comes to health care. They don't want anybody with no money to have health care. That's the way I'm starting to see it. And I liked his answer. He was like, you know, well, some of these people are mentally ill. And it made sense, you know, which makes total sense. They're in prison. They're mentally ill. They need their medicine. If they don't get their medicine, things are worse, you know. Some of these people don't have their medical help. The dynamics gets worse, right? So I was like, yeah, that makes sense to me. But everybody's like, oh, no. And it's like, wow, you know, this is not going to go good this year. You know, these people don't start changing and stop seeing the general public as them and then just us. You know, they're just a little handful of people. I mean, they need to knock that off. That's what I say, which just sucks because technically I'm a conservative, but this is making me mad because I know it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to go anywhere if they don't drop that stuff, you know? All right, so, okay. He was questioned on the merit of what Trump said about Mexico, and he kind of backed up Trump, saying that he believed that Trump just hit a nerve in the country, you know, because he pretty much is saying what people are thinking. And so it was almost like a question, I guess, a chance for him to go after Trump, but instead he kind of complimented him, and they were both like very civil and complimenting each other and stuff like that. And then that Chris Wallace guy interrupts him and tells him to answer the question about Trump. And all he did is restate what he said. You know, so it's almost like that's what I was talking about. Like, it seems like these hosts that are hosting these, they're trying really hard to create some kind of controversy or drama. And I really wish they'd stick to the debate and see this presidential debate as something serious, you know. It is important because we're in war right now. The country's sick. It's uneducated, and we can't compete. China's already passed us in a lot of things. They're passing us in what do you call it? You know, with movies and stuff like that. They're passing us. Is it media? Not media. Entertainment. They're passing us in entertainment, which is a big portion of the United States money, believe it or not. All these music, TV shows, if you notice, they're all crap. Well, China's making them all. Clothing, China's making them all. Cars, you know, I mean, you can go down the list. And the way I see it is like all these important things that we need, they're dismissing because they want to make sure to take away from everybody rather than see it as a whole country thing, you know. I don't know. I just think the whole thing's a mess. So they should be more serious. Okay, so I'm going to take a break and then I'll give my last thoughts on each of the things here. But that's what I got so far from the debate. I guess they had many debates after this, so I'll watch those tomorrow and I'll give my thoughts on those.